My name's not important, and I'm a cynic. I've been sarcasm-free for, about 7 days now. Thank you. But I don't deserve it. No, I've relapsed back to my old habits again. I was minding my own business, trying to stay positive, you know? I was on Metacritic looking at the most popular Xbox One games, but I strayed. I was weak. I saw there were 11 pages of reviews and thought to myself, I wonder what lies at the other end. I've made all these videos celebrating the apex of gaming, but what's at the nadir? Well, hold on to your sphincters, folks, because we're gonna crawl through some shit. Number 10, Project Root. It's a little bit cruel to rag on an indie game, especially one that, in fairness to it, achieves mostly what it sets out to do. Project Root is not an Australian dating sim, but instead an old-school shoot-'em-up, what you might hear called a bullet hell game. The plot is superfluous, the setup is simple, you control a flying vehicle, and you use it to blow up other vehicles. This paper-thin concept isn't the reason for the low score, however. Most reviewers criticised this 2015 Xbox digital release for being slow, boring and repetitive. More bullet heck than bullet hell, Project Root got well and truly rooted by critics and sits on a tragic 38. Number 9, NBA Live 14. Bashing indie titles might be like kicking a puppy, but bad AAA sports games are absolutely fair game. EA's atrocity to the sport of basketball was roundly eviscerated by gamers and reviewers alike for its terrible AI, unresponsive controls, and abysmal online play. I can't imagine the NBA was all that pleased either, as the player graphics and animations looked like they were made by someone who'd seen humans for the first time just a few minutes before being asked to make a video game about them. Critics gave this trash 36, which was about 5 points higher than the user score. Guess the press must have been going easy on this one. Number 8, 7 Days to Die. 7 Days to Die released on Xbox One in 2016 as something of an afterthought, as it doesn't appear that it was ever actually completed to the standards usually expected of a full release. This zombie survival / Minecraft for adults had plenty to be optimistic about, but sadly its failing is in its execution. User reviews 2 years after the release of the game described it as a buggy mess with an online mode that causes frequent crashes, and most critic reviews describe a game that, even in a working state, is dated, poorly paced, and lacking in content. 7 Days to Die scored a paltry 35 on Metacritic. Number 7, Past Cure. One can't help but wonder if game developers know they're working on a flop while they're still making it. If so, I can't help but feel the title of Past Cure is so ripe for mockery it was either a bad translation or a deliberate choice. This ambitious third-person action game was criticised for everything. Its incoherent storytelling, laughable script, monotonous voice acting, poor animation, aged graphics and boring combat. Past Cure's metascore of 34 seems somewhat generous. Number 6, Agony. out of respect for my audience, I won't be featuring much of the actual visual content of 2018's Agony, so here's a brief sample of the audio along with some distractingly pleasant puppies and kittens.
Memories tear apart my soul, consumed by the endlessly burning fire.
Actually, no, that's somehow worse. Agony is set in hell, and in the process of creating a tortuous environment in which to punish the souls of sinners, the game developers were doubly successful. Agony is truly one of the closest representations of hell in any medium, to the point where players might look reflectively back on their life and wonder what they'd done wrong to deserve it. Critics gave Agony a score of 34. If you're enjoying the video so far and want to show your support for the channel, a like would be appreciated, and subscribing and activating notifications will let you know when I post new content. Thanks. Number 5. Gene Rain. Gene Rain was released in 2018 and casts you as a vibraphonist and leader of a Hawaiian jazz quartet in the 1960s. I'm lying, there's no connection between the two, but I had myself 5 lines of script to fill about each game and needed to find something to say. Gene Rain is a generic third-person cover shooter that suffers the same criticisms as past Cure: confusing story, badly acted and boring to play. Gene Rains would be ashamed, as his namesake game earned only 32 on Metacritic. Number 4. Giana Sisters Dream Runners. Well, we did it, folks. We took the 80s nostalgia trend to its logical conclusion, and now we're rebooting knockoffs. The original great Giana Sisters concept, thrown together by a German studio with a thesaurus and Italian baby name book, had the excuse of filling the platformer niche for owners of 8-bit home computers, which were more popular in Europe than the NES at the time. This 2015 release launched off the surprising success of the 2012 game Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams, but this time round seems to have worn out its welcome, with reviewers calling out its bad level design, confusing visuals and terrible sound. Dream Runners scored a mere 32 on Metacritic. Number 3. Ghostbusters 2016. Oh, 2016. What a year to be a Ghostbusters fan, am I right? This tie-in with a reboot nobody asked for wasn't going to get a fair shake in any universe, and so it happens that in this one, the end product was a dull twin-stick isometric shooter with repetitive gameplay, poor quality graphics, and didn't really feel like a Ghostbusters game. And not to mention, this was $50? Seriously? I mean, that doesn't make sense, right? Ghostbusters 2016, anchored to its much-loathed movie, sank its developer Fireforge Games mere days after its release, and was the worst reviewed game of the year with a score of 32 on Xbox One. Number 2. Soda Drinker Pro. Apparently you either get the joke or you don't. The reviewer community, doing their duty as consumer advisors, apparently didn't, and as such told people to stay away in droves. However, the YouTube React community went apeshit for this game. Anyway, it's almost a surprise that Soda Drinker Pro warranted a Metascore as high as 30, but I guess it did have a bonus game. So, that's good value, right? Number 1. Fighter Within. In one of the more infamous missteps of console history, Microsoft's launch of the Xbox One lent pretty heavily on the idea that gamers weren't over the whole motion control thing yet. As if to hammer home the disincentive that was the, at the time, non-optional inclusion of the new Kinect, its launch title was the decidedly uninspiring Fighter Within. I'm sure that the idea of controlling a fighting game with motion controls made perfect sense in the pitch meeting, but in reality, Fighter Within just didn't work well. With its Metascore of just 23, hopefully we won't see its kind again anytime soon. Which other Xbox One trash would you warn gamers away from? Let me know in the comments below and maybe I'll work on a gamer's version. While you're down there, kindly do the usual YouTube things if you feel so inclined, and I'll see you next time.